Now, with that said, let's talk about what not to do at these meetings, all right? So this is going to sound pretty funny and weird and interesting, but these are all examples that I've had happen to me when I've done Capital Day. So without further ado, let's run through it. Do not take out your cell phone and start talking to somebody in the meeting. This happens quite often where we get a cell phone call or text message or we want to check Facebook. So while you're in this meeting, you're like, hold up everybody, you take out your phone and you then want to start talking to somebody or the phone. Don't do that. It's distracting, it's disturbing, it shows that you don't care about the meeting or the agenda. It's something to avoid. Do not speak in a different language. Do not speak in a different language. Many times when our community gets together, you might have one or two people who are from the same country that you are and speak the same language. And you might be used to speaking to them in that language. Don't go to these meetings and just start having a side conversation with you and your friend in a different language. That's very weird, it's very odd, and it's very noticeable. Don't do it. Number 3, don't get bored. Why do people take out their phone to speak in different languages? They don't feel like they're connected to the meeting. They're like, what am I doing here? They might get bored at the meeting. Other people are talking, so on and so forth. So they get bored, and because of that, they might do these behaviors. Stay engaged, stay active. The meeting is only 15 minutes to 30 minutes long, and you are representative of the Muslim community. Don't get bored, don't get disengaged, stay focused, stay active in those meetings. Do not disagree with your team members or your people in your delegation. Don't disagree with people in the meeting. We can have all those conversations beforehand, but when you're at the meeting, don't be that guy who, because you have a great degree or you have a great job or you're well educated or whatever it is, don't be that guy who's like, well, actually, I disagree with these people. In my opinion, in my personal opinion, I believe X, Y, Z. Don't be that person. When you're at the meeting, agree with everybody, even if you disagree with a point. Don't bring that up unless it's something really outrageous or it has to be corrected. Of course, you're more than welcome to clarify. So let's say I say something that I meant to say something else, but it came out wrong. Of course, you can clarify that person, but don't just be in the meeting and say, I disagree with these people. This is my personal opinion. That's not what this is about. Continuing, do not go on a tangent. Many of us, we have not been in formal meetings before, and even if we have, we sometimes go on tangents. Don't start talking about, it was in 1986 that I first came to this country. And when I first came to this country, it wasn't 1986, it was 1987. Was it March or June? Maybe it was June. Don't go on side tangents. Focus on what you're there to talk about. It's easy to go on side tangents. It's easy to go on stories or on all types of different areas. That's something that we like to do because speaking about the legislative issue is difficult. It's new to us. And speaking about whatever side tangent random issue that comes up is easy. We're used to it. That's what we want to talk about and we're comfortable with it. So we might try to go on tangents. Don't go on tangents. Stay on target. Do not ramble. Do not ramble. What I mean by this is that if you're in a delegation of 2, 3, 4, 5 people, don't be that guy that just talks for everybody. Don't be that guy that just goes on rambling, and because you get nervous or you get frightened at the meeting, you just start talking and you don't know how to stop. Stop talking, right? Say your part of the meeting, say your part of the agenda, and then be quiet. And learn to pause. It's very important. And 14, this is especially true for those people who are community leaders, those people who are older, who are part of committees, especially in masjid or Muslim organization, where you're used to being the guy that does all the talking. Calm down, relax, and give other people their right to talk as well. Don't threaten your elected official. Now, this might sound kind of silly, but it happens all the time. The person doesn't agree with what you agree with. Is you're like, okay, you want sida hat ya ulta hat, right? You want front hand or backhand, right? And we kind of get really upset. Again, this is maybe the first time you're meeting them. There's very little relationship that's been built. There's very little dialogue that's happened, and they're not going to change overnight. So again, don't threaten them. Don't say, I'm not going to vote for you, or our community is not going to vote for you. When I go back, we're going to hear about this. Whoa, calm down, relax, try to figure it out. And again, you might disagree with them on something today, but another issue might come up tomorrow, or with time the electorate might change, that person might change, or that person's opinion might change, or they might be replaced with somebody else. So don't burn your bridges if you can. Be flexible with their time and meeting. Again, for us, it's not going to be as important because it's going to be all digital. But if you physically go to the state capitol or Washington, D.C., sometimes the meeting times get changed. Sometimes they have a meeting that runs over or a meeting that's too short. Be flexible with your time. If you go into the meeting and they're like, I'm sorry guys, I only have 5 minutes, I have to run to the floor, or I'm stuck in the committee, or whatever it is, be flexible with the time. They're not just saying that to disrespect you. It's not about you. There's not a global conspiracy to undermine the Muslim community in America. There are efforts, of course, but it's not all about you. It's not always about that. There are very legitimate reasons that the elected official can't meet with you or can't meet with you at that specific time. So don't take that personally. Be flexible. Sometimes we've had meetings where literally we're walking with them. So they left their office, they're going to the floor to vote, and the only time we have for the meeting is the we'll walk there, the elevator ride, and then to the door, and that's it. And that's okay, right? Because you have to go with what's available to you. Don't immediately bash the elected officials. So let's say after the meeting they didn't agree with what you agreed with. Don't just go out there and make a video and be like, this person, astaghfirullah, Allah hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, and start bashing the individual. Again, there are sometimes you have to do that. There was an example in Texas where we did our lobby day in Washington, D.C., and the officer, Ted Cruz, basically locked the door and didn't let us in. Okay, so for that issue, that's a little bit different, right? Because that's really outside the norm, not meeting with your constituents. But just because they disagree with you or they don't pass your bill or don't want to become a co-sponsor, it's not a good enough reason to just make a video bashing them. Of course, you can make a video that says, hey, we met this official. Unfortunately, we won't get them to agree on this issue. This is why we believe they should have. And leave it at that. But don't be like, this person is an Islamophobe, a bigot. Let's bring down the rhetoric just a little bit, inshallah. The other one is, this isn't what not to do, but just be aware, we may not meet with the actual elected official. You might meet with one of their staff members, and that's completely okay. Sometimes meeting with the staff member is better than meeting with the elected official because the official is only one person, and they have hundreds of issues and bills and people that they meet all the time. So if you're able to meet with the staff member, who's the one that basically tells the official how to vote on a certain bill, then that might be better because that staff member is the one that's tasked with doing the research on the bill, the one that tells the official how to vote and why, and being able to convince that person might be even better than convincing the official themselves.